Hello, and welcome to the one and only channel on YouTube dedicated to educating viewers on improving financial literacy. Financial literacy is the ability to manage one's own money wisely, to avoid making poor choices due to a lack of knowledge or experience. Finance Legends is here to teach you to be how you will finally accomplish the rise in prosperity you've always dreamed of. By taking calculated risks, Sam Zell has amassed a real estate empire the likes of which the world has never seen. It represents one of the most significant real estate booms in the US history. Before we proceed to today's video, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell so that you will be notified every time we upload a video. Now let's get down to business. Sam Zell had a peculiar upbringing and showed early signs of his exceptional business acumen. His first venture is distributing Playboy publications, which back in the day were rarely seen in the suburbs. Sam is a business genius, but he can only manage a C average in the classroom. Sam is fighting to keep up with his two sisters and sister-in-law, each of whom are top students at their respective universities. His father, in particular, was worried that Sam wasn't living up to their academic expectations. Despite the fact that Sam is not your standard Ivy League educated investor, he is a street-smart hustler who is highly grounded in the real world. Sam Zell gets hooked on finding a business concept and taking a stab at it so that he may show his father that he can flourish abroad. An investor is now constructing a 15-unit student complex. Sam Zell quickly sees the potential in this as a means to increase his wealth. As a student himself, he is familiar with the clientele and knows what amenities are more important to those in his target demographic. When Zell and his classmate decided to redecorate their flat, they took out all the old furniture and replaced it with new, more modern pieces. It was a moment when the youth culture embraced the Scandinavian aesthetic. Sam and his classmates decided to rebuild the inside and furnish it with new, contemporary pieces, and the result was a smashing success. The students started clamoring to live in his flat. One landlord entrusted all of his apartment complexes to Sam Zell to oversee when he finished two more. He'll have established himself as an apartment manager with a reliable revenue stream by the time he finishes college. Nonetheless, he knows that if he wants to become wealthy, he must invest in his properties. If you're still here, share your thoughts in the comment section below. He uses money in a bank loan to purchase a 9-unit apartment property for $19,500. The rent was double when he renovated the inside to make it more student-friendly. After a few months, the rental income is sufficient to fund the purchase of a second apartment complex. Sam Zell has decided to devote his life to the real estate business, but he is not willing to put his personal money on the line. He realizes the need of expanding his firm to a larger market. This also includes borrowing money from other people. Now that he'd achieved some measures of success as a property investor in university towns, he decided to learn more about the market. As he investigated more, he learned that colleges and universities in America's smaller cities were seeing explosive expansion. In 1966, he decided to devote his time and energy to this endeavor, and he was able to do so after soliciting funding from a group of 20 affluent individuals. All he has owned so far are modest apartments paid for with a huge chunk of cash. First up for Sam Zell is a huge 99-unit apartment complex near the University of Toledo. He has estimated that he can make 8% on the investment at worst, and as much as 19% if things go well. The asset begins producing cash flows instantly and returning 20% annually. By 1971, Sam Zell had already established himself as a rising star. Have you ever thought of envisioning yourself as a rising star? Comment your thoughts below. Sam Zell has amassed a large fortune in residential and commercial real estate. But he has no idea that IRS is after his despite his seemingly affluence. Midway through the 1970s, Sam Zell was trying to acquire a high-rise hotel in Reno, Nevada, but the transaction was fraught with tax complications. He was a lawyer by training, but he hired his brother-in-law to handle his taxes because he didn't want to get mired down in the intricacies. But after a few years, the IRS started looking into the author's legal company. Sam and Roger have both been charged with tax evasion and fraud. At this point, Sam Zell's real estate business is more at risk than ever. If he is found guilty, he will lose everything he has worked so hard to establish over the past 15 years. Sam Zell is ultimately released without charges, but his brother-in-law past does not fare as well. While the IRS indictment will remain on Sam Zell's record indefinitely, he is determined to get past it. Do you also have a dream of becoming wealthy? If yes, continue watching this video and you will eventually be in charge of your own financial destiny. As he begins to suspect that the real estate market has been overbuilt and oversupplied, he decided to cease making any new property purchases. Sam Zell has always taken bold chances. What really sets him apart, though, is his ability to have conviction about his own beliefs, sometimes against the rest of the world. He is also a high practical investor who knows real estate from hands-on experience. Sam's sales team embarks on a purchasing binge just after the market drops, snapping up foreclosed or otherwise troubled houses with as little as $1 down. Sam Zell has spent almost $4 billion on acquisitions, the vast bulk of them between 1974 and 1977. When investors see the success of his risky move and ingenious financial arrangement, they are ready to join him again. Sam Zell, by the middle of the 1980s, had established a real estate investment empire with annual revenues in the hundreds of millions of dollars. His investment in foreclosed homes was brilliant. But now everyone is wondering if he can do the same with failing businesses. Do you think Sam Zell can do the same with failing businesses? Continue watching to find out. The 1980s were dominated by those who engaged in corporate pillage. Through the guidance of Carl Icahn, several giants of Wall Street have built fortunes that are unmatched by acquiring control of businesses. They increased the stock price by terminating the management for the time being, lowering costs, and making several extravagant promises. Sam Zell has established himself as a notable real estate investor after 2 decades of seizing advantageous business opportunities. Sam Zell may have a portfolio of residential and commercial buildings that brings him hundreds of millions of dollars annually. But he has his sights set on something much greater. If he is successful in transforming unprofitable property assets into lucrative ones, he believes he will also be successful in rescuing financial troubled businesses. Sam already possesses the necessary skills and resources. All he is missing is the right chance. Learning should be a lifetime pursuit for anyone who aspires to be a successful investor. Reading and retaining new knowledge has been a primary priority of mine throughout my whole life. I've always believed that the more knowledgeable and current an individual is, the better. To become a successful investor, you must first become a student for the rest of your life. My entire life, I focus mostly on reading and retaining information because I believe that the more informed and more current you are, the more successful you will be. And that concludes our video for today. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And please share your ideas with me in the comment section. I'm interested in what you had to say. Having said that, make sure you subscribe and enable notifications. I appreciate you stopping by, and please come back for more in the near future.